Hello, everybody. Welcome to Smartcat webinar series. My name is Kate. I'm an event marketing manager here at Smartcat. Today with me, our Jean-Luc. Hi, Jean-Luc.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, guys. Please let us know if you can hear us well, if the sound is okay, if you can see the screen, because we're already starting to share it. We have a very nice looking chat on the right side of the screen. So say something nice to us, please. Cool. Thank you. Thank you, Robert. Yeah, and greetings to you as well. I can see that we are all in different places, so that's cool. Before we start, let me just quickly go through how we'll communicate today. We have a chat, which I already mentioned. We also have a section, Ask a Question, so please leave your questions there. We will have a Q&A session at the end, and we will try to answer all your questions there. You can also vote for the questions which you like. For example, if it's similar to the one you actually wanted to ask, so it will be easier for us also to manage with the questions. I will disable chat during the presentation so it doesn't distract you from Jean-Luc. So let's start. Jean-Luc, the scene is yours, please.
Okay, perfect. Thanks for the introduction, Kate. So, in this webinar, what we want to do is we actually want to show you how to get started with Smartcat. You created an account in Smartcat and what you need to do next. And we also want to show you some tips on how to improve your chances of getting work in the marketplace. What we're going to do here is I'm going to try to switch between this presentation, these slides, and also a live demo. So just that's it's going to that's going to make the understanding a little easier. So I think Kate mentioned it. We also have a poll, that you can respond to, and this is going to be open during the entire presentation. It's a multiple choice question, so if you just take a moment just to answer that at any time during this presentation, that would be great. So the first thing that you're going to do when you create your account in Smartcat is going to be to fill in your profile information. The reason this is important because it's going to be basically your windows to the world. This is what customers are going to see when they are looking for new freelancers. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to switch to some actual profiles that I've selected, so you can have an idea of try to guess which would you think has a better chance of success. And I'm not actually trying to pick on anyone specifically, but if I were to look, at this profile here, which you can see here, there's only a first name, there's only a wait for translation, no personal details, nothing else, so if I'm a project manager, event manager, and I've been in the translation business myself for 30 years, I'm looking at a profile like this. I'm not entirely sure that I'd be very comfortable assigning a job to this translator because there's really nothing there that allows me to find out if this person has any qualifications or their specialties or whatever. So it's difficult to evaluate the skills of this person. Now, if I were to look at another profile, like this person, I never do not know this translator personally, so I'm not just picking someone, that I know to promote their business, So, but you can see here that this person has a lot more information that a project manager or event manager would be looking for. You have detailed of all the different rate or different languages that they provide with the rates for those different services. They also show their specialty in some of those languages. And also in this case, they've passed, tests for language service providers, which, you might be requested to do as well, because they've done some work in Smartcat. They already have reviews from other users. And you can see at the bottom, this translator added some information about themselves, some personal details that might be relevant for a vendor manager. There's also information about their education, and even went as far as adding some sample translation. So this could be, if I'm a vendor manager or project manager, would have a lot more confidence, looking at this freelancer. And as you can tell, if I go back to the top of that page again, that this translator has done a lot of work already in Smartcat, so it shows you, that a well-written profile can make a difference as far as getting jobs. Now, so let's just go over the different profile settings, that you would need to fill in when you start your Smartcat account. So here you can see this is my profile right here. It says I have done some transition in Smartcat. It's just not, it's not correct. It's just a demo account, so those are not real projects that don't translate. That probably would be too dangerous to do any translation in any languages, so. But the first thing that you could do, first of all, is just like, add a picture, to your profile. That makes it more personable. Make sure your name is like, spelled properly. Then you have like 5 different sections on your profile that you can fill in. The first section will be personal details, and here you can enter information about where you're located, your time zone, your native language, and also whatever personal information you would like to add about yourself, which once again would inspire maybe more confidence, put information about your skills, and things of that nature, that could help a project manager or event manager make a decision at the end. The time zone is actually going to be important because it's going to tell anyone who's looking to contract you, if it's during your daytime or outside of your daytime, so it could be helpful, to when they're looking for translators. Now, the next section is going to be some contact information. You can be able to add your email address. You'll be able to add your phone number, Skype ID if you have Skype ID. This information is not going to be published in the marketplace, but it's going to be possibly used by our vendor management team when they're looking for translators for a specific project that they have requests for from a customer. So they have a better way to contact you, rather than contact you just simply using the chat in the Smartcat application. Now, you can also add your education profile. You can just add, the different degrees that you've have acquired. I would definitely add as much information as possible, like, the degree you have, the specialties, your majors, basically, so this is really, once again, the idea is to really raise the trust level, with people that, that you've studied a specific field, so that you are qualified to do this type of translation. And your work experience would be the same, would have the same effect as well. So if you have not been a translator all your life, but you might have been in a previous life, a doctor or a lawyer or an engineer, whichever it is, so just add all that work experience there, because once again, it's going to probably reinforce the specialty that you mentioned that you can do, like in your services, so if you have experience, working in the medical fields, just add that there in your profile, so when someone is looking to do a medical translation, they would see that you have that experience right there. So it could, I think, be quite interesting for them. Now, at the bottom, the last section that you can fill out is your portfolio. And in this portfolio, you can add pretty much any information that you want, and you can also upload documents, including graphics, So what some translators do, they just upload their certificates. For example, you could have a certifications from an organization regarding like your translation or even your work experience. Some people upload, their resume if they have one up to date. You can also update some sample translations so that someone wants to hire you, they can just download translation you've done in the past, so without having to give you another test, they can just see the work that you've done in the past, so this is really where you could add really some additional information, once again, with the idea of reinforcing that confidence level. So once you've filled in all that information, you pretty much you have, I think, a much better chance if you've been thorough in the type of information that you filled in. You have a much better chance to get a job in the marketplace. Now, the next step you're going to do in the in setting up your Smartcat account is, we assume that you've done transition work with other people already. So what you can do is you can import any of the transition resources that you've accumulated outside of the platform, and just import them into your Smartcat account, and you can use them for your personal projects. So it's really one of the advantages of Smartcat. We don't put also a limit on the amount of data that you can add. So for example, I'm going to go back into my account, and under on the left menu here under My Resources, you can see that you can import, your existing glossaries. For example, here I have like a demo glossary that's already been created. I have like some terms already that have been added, and we allow you to upload Excel spreadsheets, that contain your existing glossaries, and you can also download those glossaries after you're done working with them, and then you can just add as much data as you want, and then you can use this data with your personal projects. It's quite simple. And then the glossary application in Smartcat is actually quite interesting. Now, if I would just show you quickly the glossary structure, you can add a lot more information than just the terms. It's a full terminology database, with many different fields, including custom fields that you can create. Now, the process is also very similar with your transition memory. You can just import all your transition memory into your Smartcat account. It's not shared with anyone else, so that's also something that you need to take into account. Whatever transition memory or glossaries you put into your account is not shared with any other Smartcat users. Those are your personal assets, and then we respect that. You can simply just click on Create TM and use give your transition memory a name. It could be based on a specific customer, or it could just be like a general transition memory, whichever you choose, however you want to do it. And then you choose your source language, and you choose your target languages. If you work with different languages yourself, for example, you could put all the transition memories into all those transition memory sentences in one database. You don't need to create one for each language pair, so it makes it that much easier. And transition memories actually can be reversed, so if you do have a transition memory from English into Spanish, you can also use the Spanish into English as reference in a project. You don't need to do any manual manipulations for that. So it's really quite simple. And then once you've created your transition memory, you can go ahead and just add whatever existing transition memory you have. You can import TMX files. You can also import SDLTM files directly. If you've been using SDL Studio, you don't have to convert those files to TMX. You can import SDLTM files directly into the Smartcat transition memory. And you can also import Excel spreadsheets. So the idea is that once you start using Smartcat, you have your own Smartcat account, you don't have to start from scratch. You can import all your existing data into the account. So to go back to the presentation, now you've added all your resources. You see that was pretty easy. You can import your transition memory, your glossaries, you're ready to go. The next thing that you would want to do is to try to maybe create a test project. This probably going to give you an idea what it's like to work with the Smartcat cat editor first, which is what you're going to use to do most of your translations. And also you can just explore the different features that we have in the editor that's going to help you work better and faster. So let's just show you quickly how you would create a project in Smartcat, and it's a very, very simple process. So if I click on my task right here, it's going to take you to the workspace, and on the workspace, you're going to see all the projects that you have in progress. Some of them are projects that you would create yourself, and others are projects going to be assigned to you by your existing customers. But let's say, for example, I have a project that I want to create here. I would simply click on the Create Project button here, and then I would be able to select the document that I want to import into this project. So here I have like a Word file, but you can also import all kinds of different file formats, PDF files, Excel files. You can also even bring in a Trados package, that to be processed automatically by a Smartcat. We would extract the XLIF files from the package. We would extract the transition memory, extract the glossaries, and you can just work on the XLIF files in the cat editor. And then when you are completed, you would simply return a return package to your customer. They would not know that the transition has been done in Smartcat. It would just have a regular return package, and you're ready to go. And you can simply use Smartcat to translate those projects. So I would add a file right here, a document, and once again, the file format, we support I think 30 or so different file formats. There's OCR built in, so you could even import a PDF file and processing, use them Smartcat. Then I would the next step, I would click on next here, and I would give a file a name to this project, and you could select the deadline, so you remember when you need to deliver this file to the customer. You can select the date and the time, so you can be very flexible on how you deliver your project, and then select the languages that for this project. In this case, I would say it's an English into French project. And then you have the option to use machine translation. Some of you guys probably already use machine translation for projects you do for customers. You have the same option inside of Smartcat, so you could use machine translation for all your project. And Smartcat gives you access to many different translation engines. And so depending on how good like a translation engine is for a specific language, you can choose. Like for example, I know that English into French, DeepL does a very good job. I think Amazon Translate also does a decent job, and so on and so forth. But it's just a preference on your side. So in this case, I'm not going to use machine translation, but that's also an option that you have. So, and then under advanced setting, this is where you would add your translation memories in your glossary. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and choose, a translation memory that I already have created. Or you could create a translation memory if you don't have one at this time. But it's always better to have your linguistic assets lined up, before you start your project. And the same thing with the glossary. I could just create a new glossary or select an existing glossary. I have one that's already created, click on add, and then the project is pretty much ready to go here. Then you have also quality assurance settings. There's probably not many things you want to change at this stage. Smartcat is going to do some quality assurance check in the background when you work in the editor. It's going to check for spelling mistakes. It's going to check for terminology consistency, for punctuation, and all those things that's done in the background. The options we have by default are generally good enough. So it's obviously also once you work with Smartcat, we have also integration with third-party QA tools like Xbench, for example, in Verifica. So if you want to use different tools to do your QA check, you can also do that. It's possible to do that in Smartcat. Then the final step to the project creation would be pre-translation rules. And I'm not going to go through all the details here because it's a little complex, but what you can do with pre-translation rules is you can pre-populate your target segments with what's in the translation memory. And you can create different rules, depending on the type of matches that you have. So you could decide, that 100% matches from your translation memory could simply be marked as confirmed, so you would not have to review them and so on and so forth. So you can create different rules. You can also prioritize different translation memories, so that's really, we give you a lot of flexibility when it comes to pre-translating your document. And finally, but just click on finish and the project is created. So once the project is created, then you can just simply start working in the editor. That's quite simple. Now, we also give you some options, that you can add documents after the project has been created, or your customer sends you a new version of the document. We can process that as an update, so we give you also a lot of flexibility how you work. Now, sometimes you want to start on the project before the document is final, just to save some time. And then if the document, a finalized document comes to you later, you can add it to the project, and then Smartcat will take care of the update automatically. We're going to pre-translate the document, reusing everything that's been done so far. So that's really what you can, how you create a project. As you can see, it's quite simple. You can create projects in a couple of minutes and then be ready to work. So the next thing that we would advise that you do, like you see, it's easy to create projects. It's easy to work in Smartcat. So what we would suggest that you do if you really want to improve your ranking in the marketplace is that just don't wait for people to send to send you projects through the marketplace. But if you have personal projects that you can work with already, just start translating them in Smartcat. I told you you can receive SDL Studio packages in Smartcat. So if someone sends you a document that format, don't have to worry about if you have a Trados license or not. You just take this package, open it in Smartcat, and start translating. One of your customers sends you a PDF file, you can process them using Smartcat. They send you Word files, Excel files, PowerPoint, whichever. Just simply translate those in Smartcat. And what's going to happen is that going to increase the number of words, that you are translating in Smartcat. And as this number of words increases, your ranking in the marketplace will actually increase. So that's really one of the advantages of working in Smartcat. And if I show you, for example, in our marketplace, of translators, you will see that, the people that are at the top of the list are people that are translating a lot of words in Smartcat. It's not the main factor, clearly. Obviously, like the review comment might be a factor as well, so there's a lot of different factors that come into consideration, but you can see that the people that are at the top of the list are people that have translated already some words in Smartcat. If I were to go to the bottom of the list, you will see very quickly that, people that are really, really at the bottom have translated a lot fewer words in the application. So that's one of the reasons why we suggest, that you translate more words. If I go all the way to the bottom, you see 1,200 words, 300 words, whatever. These people don't get a much better placement in the in the marketplace because they have not translated as many words as the people that are at the top. So it's really to your advantage to translate as many words as possible in the application. Now, there is another thing is that, if you go further, is that, don't be passive in looking for jobs. So what we also have is a job board in the. Sorry, I'm just like this presentation is not working very well. It's skipping a slides, but step number 5 is what we want to talk to you about is that we have actually a job board that you can consult. So let me just show you here, like, we have a job board you can get in here, when you can search for jobs, that might refer to the language that you're looking for. So for example, here I'm looking for jobs to translate into I don't know, like, Spanish, and I don't know if we have actually any jobs for Spanish in this job board here, and then I could just click on search and it would show me jobs, that where the target language is Spanish. So you could just consult, any job in the job board and see if there is one that matches your specialty or the type of work that you can do. And if you have a specialty that matches, you can see here at the top, there's the one that's looking for continuous translation of advertising text for mobile application, and it's from English into Spanish and other languages. And if you have the qualification that matches this job, this apply button would actually be active, and you could click on apply, and your candidacy would be considered. And then the customer would contact you and maybe ask you in some cases to take a test, and that would be generally speaking that would be indicated into the description, and they might just ask you then to participate into the project. So that's another way to get jobs on the marketplace. Someone might not contact you directly, but people do post jobs, every single day into this job board. So just go ahead and consult the job board on a regular basis. And if you find a job that matches your skills, then just simply apply for this job, and then you might, get a new customer out of this job board. So the final step, step number 6. That you will need to do is once you start working with Smartcat and people in the marketplace, you will get paid from these people using Smartcat. So what you need to do is under your profile, I'm going to go back into my profile here. There's a section called My Payouts. And under My Payout, there's a couple of things that are going to be shown here. First of all, when you get paid, your balance will accrue. You can see here I got paid $4.68, which I'm not going to spend all at once, I'm sure. And this is once again a demo account, so this is not real money I can use anyway. But depending on where you're located, you will have different options for how you want to receive the money. So you could, for example, receive using money using a current PayPal account that you might have. In many, many cases, the best option you will have is a local wire transfer, and we can transfer money to local bank accounts from many, many locations. If you're located in Europe, for example, we use the SEPA network to make payments, and you receive money with no transaction fee whatsoever. In USA, we use ACH, so something there are no transaction fees whatsoever to receive the money. If you're in places that don't have a payment network like ACH or SEPA, you could also receive money using an international wire transfer. And the fee for receiving the wire transfer could vary, but the maximum is going to be $3. So you're going to pay a lot less money to receive your money that you would, for example, with PayPal, which PayPal, might charge you up to 4%, to receive your money. But with Smartcat, you will have many, many lower fees, than you would have with existing rates. existing networks of payments. Now, we also have an option, for you to request payment through Smartcat. Once you realize that receiving money from Smartcat is actually cheaper than your current customers pay you, you can. We have a button here, of request payments. When you can just go ahead and ask your customers, to pay you on the Smartcat platform. So this is you put information, the email address for the customer, the job that you performed, and how much you're going to charge them. They're going to receive an email that's going to give them the information needed to pay you using Smartcat. So then your balance would get accrued, and you'll be able to receive the money from them this way. So that's really a nice way to connect, with your customers, even if they don't use Smartcat. And then on Smartcat, finally, you can also track the payments that you've received. So that this can help you at the end of the year. For example, when you prepare your taxes, you'll be able to track exactly all the payments that you've received on the Smartcat platform. So, and you can get some more information about those payments. Like it's going to take you to the project page, and show you the reason why you were paid. Will give you the word count analysis and things of that nature. So this is really what you can do using the Smartcat program. Now, a final thing that we want to talk to you about, another way to maybe add some income, as a translator, we also have a referral program. And if you go into this address that I'm showing you right there, welcome.smartcat.ai, /English/referral program, you will see how you can earn some additional money by sending us referral. So if you refer us to an existing LSP that you're working with, once the company starts working using Smartcat, once they start paying freelancers using Smartcat, you have additional ways of earning money. So this is really an interesting way also, to even just if you don't get any jobs in Smartcat, but you send us referral, you can still make money from Smartcat. So that's another way to look at it. So anyway, so this is it for the demo part. So if you have any questions right now, maybe Kate, you can just go ahead and review the questions, and we can try to answer them.
Yes, sure. Let me first enable chat. Maybe someone will be more convenient to write in here. And questions. There is a kind of not a question, but I think a comment from Charlotte that using Smartcat for outside clients is a nice strategy to increase the number of words, but most clients would not agree for obvious confidentiality reasons. Well, I think here we just can comment on the security part of Smartcat, right?
Mm-hmm. Correct. Yeah. Yes,
that's
exactly.
What I think Charlotte is afraid.
Yeah, I know that people have concerns, because obviously Smartcat is a cloud-based application, but in fact, a tool like Smartcat is much more secure than even a desktop applications. People don't sometimes realize it, that when you use a cloud-based application like Smartcat, the data doesn't travel anywhere. If someone sends you, for example, an SDL package, they send it to you via email. That email goes through multiple stops. It goes through multiple riders. It can be intercepted. It can be tracked. So with Smartcat, that is not the case. The data is stored on a cloud-based infrastructure. In our case, with Smartcat, we actually use Amazon AWS, and we have servers in many different locations. So there is very, very few issues as far as security. By many factors, the data is actually much more secure in Smartcat than it would be stored in a local computer or local server.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Jean-Luc. One more question. Hello, thank you for the presentation. Could you please tell us if there is a way to set up notifications about jobs of interest? For instance, setting up a filter to be notified via email about new jobs for a certain target language. This would
yes, at the moment we don't have notifications from the job board. The job board has actually recently implemented, so it's actually a good suggestion, and we'll definitely mention it to the development team that a way for you, for example, to register on the job board to get notifications, So I'm taking notes here to mention it to our developers, and see if we can implement such a feature moving forward, But thank you for the suggestion for sure.
But actually, I'm sure that our development team will be working on this. But as just Jean-Luc said, the job board was released just recently, maybe even less than 1 month ago. So yeah, this is still what we are working and developing, and we'll for sure we will do some kind of notifications about this. Um, okay, Charlotte, personally sure it is safe. I just think I would have trouble convincing the client. Yeah, yeah.
Just one
Okay.
more thing, just Charlotte. Actually, on the Smartcat webpage, we have on the Smartcat website, we have a page specifically dedicated to security. You can provide that. You can provide that as background information for your customers, and also we are GDPR compliant as well. And that's another piece of information.
Yeah, I'm just looking for this page you mentioned to send it to Charlotte right away. Yeah. So we actually run out of time, but guys, if you have more questions, please let us know. We are here to answer them. I'm sure if you came to this webinar, you are interested in Smartcat, and I'm also would like to encourage you to answer in the poll because we have just few people who participated. Maybe now it will be easier for you to say why did you decided to try Smartcat, because we showed you a lot of features that Smartcat has. Sylvia, may I link my current Smartcat profile to my Proscom one?
You could actually, there is like, if you go under your marketplace profile, if you browse through the marketplace and you find your profile, you can certainly put a link, to this profile into your pros profile. I don't see a reason why you would not. So you just simply collect, your marketplace profile web address, and you just copy that into your profile in pros. And I don't see a problem. Actually, I would encourage you to do that. So.
Okay, thank you. So more questions? Do we have more? Or it seems that everything is clear. Anyway, guys, after we close this session, you will have a chance to replay this full video, just in case if we go too fast and you want to take a look like more detail on some part of things which Jean-Luc has presented. You will have this opportunity, and so you can watch it, rewatch it as many times as you need. Well, I think it's like Friday night for most of you. That's why everyone is a little bit, want to go to finish job and to have some rest finally in the end of the week. So let's finish then. I don't see more questions coming. I hope you like the presentation. Again, please replay it once again if you need. If you need. Jean-Luc, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Kate. Thank you, everybody. Have a good weekend, hopefully.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.